Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nashtaprayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, chapter 25 verse 13. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsam Mato Nishreyasaaya me Atyanto Parathir Yatra Dukkasya cha Sukhasya cha. So, Supreme Lord starts answering devotees' questions. Personality of Godhead answered, the yoga system which relates to the Lord and the individual soul, which is meant for the ultimate benefit of the living entity, and which causes detachment from all happiness and distress in the material world, is the highest yoga system. So we get stuck here only. So yoga has to create detachment from all happiness and distress, of course, of this in the material world, meaning material happiness and distress. In the material world, everyone is trying to get some material happiness. But as soon as we get some material happiness, there is also material distress. In the material world, one cannot have unadulterated happiness. Any kind of happiness one has is contaminated by distress also. For example, if we want to drink milk, then we have to bother to maintain a cow and keep her fit to supply milk. Drinking milk is very nice. It is also pleasure. But for the sake of drinking milk, one has to accept so much trouble. The yoga system, as here stated by the Lord, is meant to end all material happiness and material distress. So, yeah, here Prabhupada is saying, the best yoga as taught in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna is Bhakti Yoga. It is also mentioned in the Gita that one should try to be tolerant and not be disturbed by material happiness or distress. Of course, one may say that he is not disturbed by material happiness, but he does not know that just after one enjoys so-called material happiness, material distress will follow. This is the law of the material world. Lord Kapila states that the yoga system is the science of the spirit. One practices yoga in order to attain perfection on the spiritual platform. There is no question of material happiness or distress. It is transcendental. Lord Kapila will eventually explain how it is transcendental, but the preliminary introduction is given here. So what does this mean? What does this detachment from happiness and distress mean? What does it mean practically? I've explained this multiple times, but if you also try to answer, then it'll be more clear for all of you.
Prabhu, is it karma pala tyagam? Means whatever work, the results we not consider something.
No, it's very clear. Detachment from all happiness and distress. There is no karma, mention of karma here.
Pranam Prabhuji,
Pranam.
it's like not to be so elated during happiness, and not to be so depressed during distress. We have to be equanimous, like
Yeah. So
good.
what should we do? What should we do? See,
Steady in
see,
our devotional service.
study in our devotional service. Okay. If you are studying our devotional service, till we make advancement, we will still be affected by happiness and distress.
If we start performing the activities in the devotional service, probably we will not be entangled with the material activities.
No, that's what I'm saying. So even if you start doing bhakti seriously, it's not like overnight things are not going to change. It takes time. Right? So ultimately we will come to a stage where we will actually not have any material happiness and distress, or even if it is there, we are not affected by it. But in our current state, what is it that we should do? That stage will come when there is happiness and distress and we don't get affected by it.
Prabhu, is it something related to self-realization, like Brahma
No, no,
Bhuta?
don't like, see, my questions are very, very simple. They are not philosophical. They are all about practical. I'm asking practically, what should we do? What does this detachment from happiness and distress mean? What should we do? I'm asking a very simple question, like day to day. Day to day, how should we deal?
Always associate with Krishna, like his pastimes or his thinking of Krishna when you are
But
active.
always when there is distress, where will you think about Krishna? That is what I'm asking. So suppose say we are in distress, body is not okay, mind is not okay, some situations, etc., etc. What should we do? Accepting is that it has karma phala and continue to remain in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Okay.
Simply chant and engage in devotional service.
Simply chant. When you're answering, also think practically. When you're going through difficulty, how easy is it to simply chant? So the only thing that can help us when we are in distress is good association. That's the only thing that can help us, right? Because this is all theoretical what we are saying, right? But practically it's not. It's very difficult. But when we are in good association, then by that association, actually, yeah, all this we will first remember. We will be told saying that, hey, you are not the body, your spirit soul. Actually, I've been thinking about it. Actually, we still don't think about ourselves as spirit soul. This is why we are experiencing distress. Mm. For whatever reasons, we still continue to think that I'm the body. Second thing I was realizing, saying that we don't see the Paramatma in our heart. Mm. Why is that important? When we see Paramatma, when we develop the vision to see Paramatma in the heart, automatically we will understand saying that, oh, I am the Atma. I'm sitting beside the Paramatma. I'm not this body. And yeah, when there is distress, tam stitikshasva bharata. When so the first stage is to simply tolerate, right? And in the association of devotees, yesterday I was reading on purport. Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna attentively. chant Hare Krishna attentively. Then His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, in one letter, he has said, chant attentively and attentively read Prabhupada's books. But the question is, when the mind is distressed, when the body is distressed, it's not easy for us to do all this. So it is why we need to have good association. So first step is to tolerate, then naturally detachment will come. Right? It will take some time. But we have to practice. So because the more and more we start tolerating, then eventually we will become detached. See, one thing we have to understand. The way we are stuck in this material world currently, it seems practically impossible to become free and go back to Krishna. At least I can talk about myself. So if I look at where I stand today in my life, it seems pretty much difficult to achieve perfection in this life because of so many attachments. Because these are not like gross attachments. If you have gross attachments, then we are gone. Then we have still more time. Even subtle attachments or attachments to small things which are not really that important, or attachment to the body, or attachment to the family. Now, if we, and all of us are stuck in various things like this, right? Anything to do with our sense gratification, be it gross or subtle, we are stuck. And we have to come to the Brahmabhuta platform. Brahmabhuta platform is when we will not be affected by happiness and distress. Mm. So it seems like it's going to take a long time, right? But it's only by constant practice of sadhana bhakti, intense practice, that we can hope to get out. And for us to be able to do that, we need somebody to pull us. Ideally, this has to be the guru. Ideally, guru, diksha guru. If we have clarity about whom we are going to get initiated from. Otherwise, that person whose Vani is going to keep pulling us. That is the support. And of course, practically also other devotees who are also in the same mood, who are accessible to us, with whom we can talk to, etc. Right? Because this seems like a simple statement, detached from all happiness and distress, but it's very far. Seems like very distant. Seems difficult. Right? So if we are clear, if we have made up our mind, saying that I want to achieve perfection in this life, then from where we are to reach there will require some hurdle, will require some big jumps. So the big jumps come in terms of so-called material situations and challenges. And when we are able to get past those obstacles, we would have made a big jump. We would have overcome one big obstacle in our life towards going to Krishna, towards Krishna. So if we want to achieve perfection in one life, we should be ready to put effort. It is not going to come by easy. It's not going to be easy. As in, it's not just like we are sitting and, like they say in English, all comes on a platter. It doesn't come on a platter. Meaning it's not going to be cakewalk, as they say. It's not going to be a breeze, right? It's going to be a whirlwind. But we should understand saying that through all that distress, Krishna is there with us. Why? Because we want to achieve him, we've developed that intense desire. Now all situations are for our purification, for us to overcome those attachments that we have. And Krishna understands our struggle. Krishna knows where we are stuck. Krishna is there with us. So we should have that faith and trust that whatever is happening in my life is actually mercy. And we can actually, if we are a little bit more introspective, we can actually recognize, identify the obstacle that this situation will help me overcome. And like this, we will have to, if we are not fast learners, we will have to go through multiple scenarios before we can actually come to a completely pure state. Is this clear? Is it too abstract? Yes, no, all right.
Clear, Prabhu.
So what is the alternative for, like, if we are not able to associate at the point of time of distress? Is there any other second method which we can apply when the association is?
Difficult, because if you ideally what we should do is we should do good chanting and good hearing, reading Prabhupada's books. But if our situation is not letting us do that also, then the only hope is devotees. But understand one thing, why we are struggling with our situation more than the body, it is the mind. Even if somebody has some bodily difficulty, some health problem, more than the actual health problem that is giving us trouble, it is actually the mind for most people. Why is the mind troubled? Mind is troubled because as Atma, we still want this body for sense enjoyment. We are still looking out for sense enjoyment through this body. So we are distressed. We are unhappy. So we should understand that this body is not for my enjoyment. This body is given by Krishna. It's supposed to be used for Krishna. And whatever suffering I'm going through is just helping me overcome those obstacles that are there between me and Krishna. So if we can think about the situation like this and accept it, saying that wholeheartedly accept the situation, saying, why, yes, I am accepting my state of distress. Why? Because it's actually helping me go closer to Krishna. So why should I actually be distressed? It's something about happiness. It's something to be happy about, right? Because this situation is going to take me closer to Krishna. Is that not something that should make us happy? Right? So we should understand saying that some people are materially fortunate. They have less karma phala to deal with. Some people are fortunate because they are already on the sattva guna platform, nearer to Shuddha Sattva, less of a travel. But many of us, as I can talk about myself, stuck in ignorance and passion, finding it difficult to come to goodness. So, but then we also have a desire saying that, no, I want to achieve Krishna in this life. No, then we have to transition. Now from tamoguna, rajoguna to sattva-guna, that's not going to happen just like that, right? If we are so intelligent, then we'll see how, okay, see these activities of mine are tamoguna, these are rajoguna. Okay, I'll just give them up and I'll fix myself in sattva-guna. If we have the ability to do that, and then we don't have to go through major struggles in life. Because especially once a devotee actually surrenders to Guru, his karma phala is practically destroyed. Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. So all the karma phala is actually destroyed. What a devotee is experiencing is just a removal of those obstacles. That's all he's experiencing. So either we are fixed in this understanding, saying that, oh, this is mercy, and wholeheartedly accept it. But that takes time because we are not intelligent. It takes time for us to come to that platform. Repeated suffering. Then eventually we will come to understand, saying, no, this is actually Krishna's mercy. And to help us to get there, also we need devotees. So good association is the key. Or Prabhupada's books. If we are somehow attached to reading Prabhupada's books, irrespective of whatever situation is, we are safe. We'll be protected. But please understand, this is actually this, we keep talking about it so many times. Okay, be equanimous. But it's easier said than done. It requires a lot of effort. It requires clear vision to see what we are experiencing, etc., etc. To see everything as mercy, to see everything as removal of the obstacle between me and Krishna. And when we see it like that, we should wholeheartedly accept our situation. And there is no point, it's pretty meaningless to be attached to trivial things. One is when you're in a distress, it's more difficult. Then, like I keep saying, if everything is fine, then we keep getting attached to useless temporary things like money, profession, achievements, family, husband, wife, children, society. That is another craziness, right? Because there are no obstacles really, but we're just simply by being attached to these things, we are creating obstacles for ourselves. Then how will we get over those obstacles? We have to deal with problems, isn't it? So every devotee who is sincerely trying to achieve Krishna will go through certain problems in life. So we should not run away from it. We should not shy away from it, saying that, oh, no, this is too difficult. Let me not desire achieving Krishna at all. We let it happen whenever it happens. That's loser's mindset. It is struggle, it is difficult, but it is for achieving Krishna. But if we don't see it that way, then we will just look at it as material distress, and then we will ask, saying that, why am I going through this suffering? I'm a devotee of Krishna. All these kind of things come to our mind. Because we are a devotee of Krishna, and Krishna is helping us. And of course, we should also understand we would have suffered more, but for Krishna. So it's meaningless to get attached to trivial material things or getting distressed, affected when we are in trouble. Both have to be avoided. Always remembering our goal. So the way to do it is tolerate with the clear knowledge. First tolerate whatever is happening in our life. Just tolerate. Accept and tolerate. Because if we don't accept, we will not have the strength to tolerate. We can only tolerate when we accept a problem. Saying that, okay, this problem is there. Now what should I do? Okay, I have to tolerate. If I don't accept my problem at all and I keep shoshati na kangshati, right? We keep lamenting, oh, why this problem? I don't have comfortable situation. If comfortable situation was there, I would have done bhakti so nicely. This is simply lamenting. But situation is not there in our life without Krishna's will. Why is Krishna letting me go through this difficulty? Because it is good for me. So I have to accept it. Only then we become detached from all this. As in, we're not affected by this. We know that it's for our good only. Why are we resisting it or fighting it or getting affected by it? Very, very important. Very, very important. This detachment from happiness and distress in the material world. Very, 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 very important. Otherwise, we can't get Krishna. Simple. Like you keep saying, if we don't want Krishna, then it's okay. Then no problem. Then we can take our time. But if you want Krishna badly, then we have to get over this happiness and distress of this material world. So the first step is accept. Second step is tolerate. And third step, gradually we'll come to a natural stage of detachment, not getting affected by it at all. That okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Any questions? Otherwise we can close.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, for explaining so nicely on this topic. And one question is, we say that this whatever work we are doing, this is done by gunas, three gunas. You are not doing. The soul is not doing it. So how to understand this, Prabhu?
Yeah, because soul cannot do material work, no? Soul is spiritual. The soul is not touching. So if I'm using this computer, soul is not touching the computer. What is touching the computer? My hand is touching the computer. What is my hand made up of? Material things. This is all three gunas. Material nature means three guna. So soul is spiritual. We should just remember this. How can soul do anything material? Soul cannot. Like just think about a ghost. A ghost is spiritual. Can it lift a material object? No, it cannot. So we are spirit soul. So in your spirit soul, how can we touch or lift anything? Whatever is being done actually by the body. The body is made of material elements. But the soul desires. Soul desires. Doesn't do anything. Soul desires, gets entangled. Laziness. Simply desire, gets stuck. Desire, gets stuck. Is that okay, Nakul Prabhu?
Yes,
Prabhu, Prabhu, just to add to that, I think, yeah, it's not just material, gross material, right? Even the mind, intelligence,
Yeah.
they're also material,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So we're indulging all material energies, being entangled in that. So even though it looks like, we are acting, but all these material energies are entangling us into this
Non-material energies are
complex.
not entangling. No. Material and energies are doing what we want them to do. We are entangling ourselves. Please be clear about it.
Okay.
The soul is desiring entanglement, and material energies are just facility for getting entangled. This is the instrument that Krishna has given us to use to fulfill our desire. Because our desire itself is entangling, we are getting entangled.
Okay.
Don't blame it on the gunas. Don't think that, oh, I'm so helpless, I'm stuck. No, we are not so helpless. We are helpless to the extent that we are not able to come out of these material desires. That we are helpless. And that we can only by Shravanam we can actually come out of it. But As the Atma, I am desiring. Material nature has given me facility to fulfill those desires. And by those actions, I am getting bound. But the cause for the action is my desire. Right? So the cause, ultimately, the soul is desiring. That is why we have to change the nature of our desires. Soul cannot be without desire. We have to change the nature of the desires. Then we will move on the path of release. Otherwise, we will be on the path of entanglement. But technically, any karma being done is actually being done by the gross or subtle body, which is nothing but three modes, not by the soul. Practically, in terms of action, desiring is done by the soul. Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, somebody was asking about difference between Mayavad and Nirvisheshvad. So I
Yeah.
was not able to answer clearly.
Yeah. Mayavad, Nirvisheshvad basically is that there are no variegatedness in the spiritual world. Right? Nirvishesh. There is no Vishesh. It's all same, homogeneous. Mayavad is when somebody, okay, so what we should understand is there is Mayavad, there is Nirakaravad. Nirakar, Nirvishesh is another aspect of Nirakar. Nirakar basically is saying that Lord doesn't have form. What Mayavadis say is that Krishna's form is material, is made of Maya. So that is why they're called Mayavadi. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Mayavadi Krishna Rapadati. Because he is, deriding, he is offending the Lord by telling that his body is material. He will go to hell. But Nirakaravadi, he just says, no, okay, Brahman is the ultimate. He doesn't know beyond. Nirakaravadi does not know beyond Brahman. He doesn't know Paramatma, he doesn't know Bhagavan, and he's happy with Brahman. He's not offensive. But a Mayavadi is offensive. Right? So Nirvisheshavadi also is like basically no variegatedness. It's all one. It's light.
Okay, Prabhuji. And these Shunyavadis, like,
Yeah, Shunyavadi say everything is zero. They say there is nothing, no Brahman, no Paramatma, no body, no this, no that, nothing. Everything is just zero.
the Buddhist concept.
Buddhism. Yeah, Buddhism
Okay.
is Shunyavad.
Fine,
Shunya
Prabhuji.
means zero.
Shunya. Okay.
Yeah.
And Prabhuji, one more thing, like we are reading Bhagavatam, like we were reading about Narad Muni. So it was like a thought came, why like Narad Muni, who is eternally liberated, came as a maidservant's son.
Yeah, you only know the answer. Why? To teach us.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why Prabhupada came here? To teach us.
And in that chapter also, it was written like when Narad Muni's mother was bitten by a snake. So it is a very nice para, like the Lord like he deals with the devotees, like we were doing more obstacles, then more we are going closer to Lord. Like he says.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we should see it that way when we have distress, but we are not
Yeah.
able to.
We should practice.
Yes.
Because we are attached, we are
And
not able to
Prabhuji,
see that way. Because we are attached. We are attached to our situations. Actually, we want comfort life, comfortable life. Basically, the crux is this. The bottom line is this.
right.
We don't want suffering. We want to be happy. Right? So which is why we are not ready to accept any situation of unhappiness. Because we are not seeing that this is actually taking me towards eternal happiness. That lack of vision is what causes problem. We get stuck. It is
And
difficult. See, the thing about these difficult things, is to, like I've told this multiple times. If there is something, some spiritual knowledge that is difficult for you, for anybody to consume, we should write it and keep it in front of us all the time and keep staring at it. Right? That's the only way. Repeated hammering of the same concept. Then it will go and get stuck in our heads. We are so manda, dull-headed. So repeated. That is why the problems also continue, because learning is not happening at all. We are such a we are not learning at all. The situation also continues, right? Simply by learning the what we have to learn from the situation, that situation will change automatically. See, because our life is not karma phala driven. When we are initiated, our life is not karma phala driven. Or even if you are a sincere devotee, our life is not karma phala driven. To some extent it will be, but especially after initiation, it will not be karma phala driven. It's simply Krishna pulling us in different directions. Why can't we recognize that? Because we are manda. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, Prabhuji. And in lack of association, like if we don't have that Vapu association, we can uh, read Prabhupada's books and like call a devotee
Absolutely.
friend or something.
Absolutely. No, I mean, see, if we are introspective enough to read and we are in a our mind is like letting us do these activities, then we should just fix ourselves in reading Shravanam, Kirtanam, and then yeah, we will be able to get over. But sometimes our mind becomes very disturbed. It's not letting us do chanting properly. It's not letting us do reading, nothing, right? It just gone into one crazy state. And then we need devotee. We need devotee. Yeah, it could be phone, it could be anything. That doesn't matter. It's not physical presence as such. Physical presence, of course, helps, right? But even without physical presence, as long as it is Vani, that's also powerful enough. But we should get there. We should get to the association, especially when our mind is troubling us so much that we are not able to do our routine devotional activities. We have to surrender to a devotee. No other option.
Yes, Prabhuji. And one more thing, like sometimes we feel like while reading, it's like it happens that I just want to read. Like I've started reading Bhagavatam, so I don't want to do anything else. It sometimes happens that my chanting is left and hearing is left. What do we do then? Like
No, no, no.
sometimes
Chanting
it's
is number one priority. No reading without chanting. Chanting has to happen first. First priority
okay,
in day. So Prabhupada said first is health, second is chanting, third is reading.
okay. First is health.
First is health. First is health, because we have to try and keep ourselves in good health. Some people are very, very ignorant. They ignore their body, right? Or even torture their body. That we should not do. Right? So we should give as much importance, as much rest is required, etc. All that we should do. But then not too much, but just as much required, right? So that we can try to be in good health, like eating proper healthy food, not just eating too much of like oily stuff and this and that and all that. Just yukta ahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu. So that we should do. But beyond that, first thing is the most important thing in the day is chanting. Most important thing. So only after that we
Okay,
should
Prabhuji.
start other
Mhm.
devotional activities. Of course, somebody is doing Mangalarti in the temple, that's fine, right? If we don't have such elaborate morning program, then first priority is chanting. And even in our morning program, how is that? How is that designed? If you are in a temple, also it's Mangalarti, chanting, then reading, hearing. right? So chanting is number one priority. We can't put aside chanting and do reading. It's good that if you have so much taste, but just ensure that, because see, when you actually have taste, you will also develop taste for chanting, right? So taste for chanting has to develop. But it's good if you have so much drive to read Bhagavatam. Very, very, very fortunate.
It's due to your inspiration, Prabhuji. I had read it so many years ago and I just left it now. I was reading like from here and there, but now when we have started systematic reading, it's very, very effective. It's very
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So
Thanks
then
to
we can just stick to it. But yeah, first priority is chanting, then reading.
yes, Prabhuji, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, as you explained that chanting is important. If time is constrained, Prabhu, like we can go for 8 rounds chanting for devotees like who are not initiated, something like that. Is it fine, Prabhu?
No, I mean everybody has to come to 16 rounds. We can take how much ever time we want to come. We want to come to that stage, but 16 rounds is minimum. Otherwise, we are not taking the full treatment at all. The treatment in Kali Yuga is minimum 16 rounds. So 8 rounds and all is okay. It's just on the path. That's all. But if we have time and instead of chanting, we are, like reading for 1 hour, etc., that we should not do. We should maybe bring it down. But chanting slowly, at least from 8 rounds, we should do 10 rounds. Then we have to get to chanting has to come to 16 rounds. There is like no questions about it. But yeah, as you can take your time based on how fast or slow you're moving, you can take your time. But absolutely 16 rounds chanting has to happen. And I can keep seeing as much as possible in the morning for Matajis alone, or for people who are in some, like jobs which have various shifts and all that. Yeah, you can, some flexibility will be there. But 16 rounds, preferably before 9 o'clock, otherwise latest before 12 o'clock afternoon, not beyond that. That's recommended. Okay. Anything else? Okay. So we'll stop here. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mantra kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.